For Pacifica Radio, I'm Christina Onnested. Legal experts say the Supreme Court's ruling granting presidents broad immunity from criminal prosecution for official acts Monday will likely derail the federal prosecution of Donald Trump for his efforts to overturn his 2020 election loss. The High Court also ruled presidents could be prosecuted for unofficial acts, but imposed a high bar for that prosecution, as Scott Baba reports.
Tom Wolf is the director of democracy initiatives at the Brennan Center for Justice in New York, a progressive nonprofit law and public policy institute.
This new ruling from the court pulls a new constitutional rule from thin air. Trump is now positioned to renew his push to dismiss the charges against him and evade accountability for his crimes against our democracy. And as a result, the rule of law in America is in tatters today.
Wolf said that while the court ruled presidents don't have immunity for unofficial acts, official acts could not form the basis for prosecution. The court also ruled that prosecutors are not allowed to look at a president's motives for official acts, no matter how corrupt. Wolf said that the ruling would likely derail Special Counsel Jack Smith's prosecution of former President Donald Trump.
They've also said that the special prosecutor can't rely on the testimony of the president or any of his aides associated with official acts.
Trump posted in all capital letters on his social media network saying, quote, "Big win for our Constitution and democracy. Proud to be an American." President Joe Biden addressed the nation in response to the ruling.
Today's decision almost certainly means that there are virtually no limits on what a president can do. This is a fundamentally new principle, and it's a dangerous precedent.
I'm Scott Baba, Pacifica Radio.
Donald Trump's lawyer sent a letter to Manhattan judge in his election interference hush money criminal case Monday night, seeking to file a motion to set aside his guilty verdict. The letter to Judge Juan Merchan cited the Supreme Court's ruling earlier in the day and asked the judge to delay Trump's sentencing while he weighs the High Court's decision and how it could influence the New York case. New York progressive Democrat Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez said on social media she'll file articles of impeachment in the House against the Supreme Court's conservative justices. She said, quote, "The Supreme Court has become consumed by a corruption crisis beyond its control. Today's ruling represents an assault on American democracy. It is up to Congress to defend our nation from this authoritarian capture," unquote. It's likely to go nowhere in the Republican-controlled chamber. Independent Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders said the Supreme Court is out of control. If these conservative, right-wing, corporate-sponsored justices want to make public policy, they should simply quit the Supreme Court and run for political office, he said. A federal appeals court has restored a more than $2 million fine against 24 white nationalists and organizations for their role in the deadly 2017 Unite the Right rally in Charlottesville, North Carolina, where civil rights protesters clashed with far-right and Nazi extremists, culminating in a man plowing his vehicle into a crowd, killing one woman. A jury had awarded more than $26 million in damages to people who had suffered physical or emotional injuries during the event. A judge later slashed that amount. A federal appeals court Monday increased it to $350,000 each person. Israeli strikes overnight killed at least 9 people in the southern Gaza city of Khan Yunis, shortly after Israel ordered Palestinians to evacuate parts of the city ahead of a likely ground operation. The strike hit a home near the European hospital. The United Nations Agency for Palestinian Refugees says some 250,000 people are in the evacuation zone, many who already fled earlier fighting. Meanwhile, reporting from Al Jazeera shows video of Israel's military using Palestinian detainees as what Euromed organization calls human shields, dressing them up in Israeli military uniforms, forcing detainees to walk unarmed in combat zones and in search of unexploded ordnances. The military also straps cameras on them. Euro-Mediterranean Human Rights Monitor called the tactic a full-fledged war crime. At least 4 people are dead after Hurricane Beryl slammed into the southern Caribbean as a Category 5 hurricane, the first of the year. 3 people were reportedly killed in Grenada, another in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, according to officials. It's now heading near Jamaica, the Cayman Islands, and Mexico's Yucatan Peninsula, where hurricane warnings are in effect. Beryl's the earliest Category 5 storm ever to form in the Atlantic, fueled by record warm waters from climate change. It's expected to start losing intensity today. In a limited ruling, the Supreme Court is keeping on hold social media laws in Texas and Florida that would limit how Facebook, TikTok, X, YouTube, and other platforms regulate content posted by their users, citing the company's First Amendment rights. The court's majority recognized the platforms are like newspapers and have a constitutional right to make choices about what to include and exclude from their spaces. The cases will continue in federal appeals court. One court had upheld the Texas law. Another found Florida's law is probably unconstitutional. Backers of a proposal to change Ohio's congressional map-making system have delivered hundreds of thousands of signatures needed to make the statewide ballot this fall. The group Citizens, Not Politicians, say they delivered more than 700,000 petition signatures Monday, far more than the 414,000 valid signatures they needed by Wednesday's deadline. The group's amendment aims to replace Ohio's redistricting commission with an independent body selected directly by its citizens. The ballot initiative is an effort to thwart GOP-drawn congressional maps. I'm Christina Onnested reporting for Pacifica Radio.